G'day everybody. So it's 8:11 in Tasmania, Australia. On the 12th, you can see there, but in Israel, oh, look at that. In Israel, it's 11:11 p.m. on 1/11. That's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? There's that 11:11 again. I had no plans on seeing that right now. Anyway, I'll get rid of my clock. So what that basically means is we still have 49 minutes until midnight in Israel. Now, what I want to come on and just encourage people about is that this watch period is between this sign that we believe we identified on the 11th and through to about the 14th. Now, I mentioned that in other videos. And the reason is there could be some calendar misalignments, or we could be looking at the beginning of the month as they sort of do it these days, the sighting of the new moon. A lot of channels were originally leaning towards the sighting of the new moon. I didn't sort of go with that because I believe that sunset would have been a more appropriate time in the twinkling of an eye. But it didn't work out. We still haven't reached midnight yet, but the watch period is for a couple of days. As I've said on most of my videos, I put it through to about the 14th. So, how do we deal with these dates that pass? I got a comment this morning mentioning that I shouldn't put faith in dates, and that is correct. But I don't. I don't put a faith in a date. I'm not going to be rescued from this earth by a printed calendar. My faith is in Jesus. I'm watching dates because I believe that biblically we can. It says clearly, I mean, I don't know why people bother to dispute this. It says if you don't watch, you won't know. You know, that's like saying, well, if you throw a lit match into a heap of paper, right, and then you turn your back on it, well, if you don't watch, you won't know whether it caught on fire or not. But if you turn around and have a look and watch, you'll see exactly when it catches on fire. You know, just because something's worded one way doesn't mean... But people almost reverse that. It says basically, if you don't watch, you won't know. It says, you know, no man knows the hour of the day. But it also says, you know, if you're watching, it won't happen. You know, if the master of the house was watching, he wouldn't have allowed the thief to break in. That clearly tells me, and then it says, but if he's not, well, you know, the thief will break in. It gives you both scenarios there. Don't watch, you won't see. Do watch, you will see. So I'm not putting my faith in a date, and I never give 100% guarantees ever. I have never, ever done that once. All I simply say is, this is a very high watch period that I'm watching, and these are the reasons why. So far, none of us have got it right. But look what's happened in Israel just overnight. Now, I've started, just basically got up, and, you know, I've gone through my usual news feed things as I do. And there's just more and more action happening over there in the Middle East. So, as we haven't even reached midnight yet, you can see by the little clock up the top there, it's 8:15 in Australia, and that means 45 minutes left for Jerusalem, because they're still yesterday at 11:15 p.m. But then we still have the sighting of the new moon And we have these possible alignments with the calendar being off. Now, I'll explain that. If you want to go over and have a look at this gentleman here, he has done this video, I think might have been the last one that had the information in it, but he may have done some more since then, so I'm not sure about the exact order, but go and have a look at his last few. This is the channel that I can never pronounce, Gevti. Excuse me. So, they are specifically looking at the sighting of the new moon. But in his previous video, he did mention the fact that I think it was, if the calendar was off by a month, I think the deal is, and it gives fairly good supportive reasons as to why it could be. I've never been down with the calendar being a month off, but I've never got the rapture date right either. So, and none of us have. So none of us can really say, when we're talking about things like calendars, timelines, dates, none of us can really say, unless it's some stupid outlandish claim, that the other person is wrong. So I've never really gone down that path. I will go down that path with crazy things like predestination and stuff and Calvinism, because they're things I can directly teach on. But I'm not a pastor or a scholar, a biblical scholar, so I'm not going to argue with the finer points because I don't have the knowledge to. You defer to your elders sometimes, and that's just the way it goes. And elders doesn't necessarily mean older in age, although I'm 21 with 34 years experience of being 21, so that's pretty young. I don't know how old Gevti is. But anyway, go and watch this dude's video. It's good. Watch his last couple. It'll give you some indications as to why this watch period has not ever just been that boom midpoint line Jan 11th. It's been possibly a day before January 11th because we had some significant Jewish anniversaries occurring, death of rabbis and all that sort of stuff on the 10th. Then we had this convergence of the centre point for solar and lunar eclipses being Jan 11th. But we've also got a few things either side of that. On the other side of that, we've got the sighting of the new moon and some of the things that this channel mentions. I'll just play the first few seconds just so you can have a listen.
So welcome back. We have a quick update that we want to present to you. We are looking for the rapture to occur at the sighting of the new moon in Israel. Right now, we are in a very high watch for the rapture. With the discovery of January the 11th, the correlation of how it's a center point, all the blood moons and the solar eclipses converging on January the 11th. And we are looking for the rapture to occur at the sighting of the new moon. Now, this is a screenshot of the website renewedmoon.com, and they are projecting the new moon, the sliver of the new moon, to be observed Friday evening in Israel on January the 12th at after sundown.
I'll just pause it there, you get the drift. I just wanted to play the introductory minute or so that you could go over and have a listen yourself. Now, like I said, we're looking at, if you have a look at this channel's previous video, we could be looking at right through to the 14th. I always was looking right through to the 14th. We're at the end of the race. We know that things are closing in. As I said, overnight Israel, more things have happened. I think there was some attacks on an American bases or ships or something. What have we got? Canadian prefacing. 3 major red flags, NATO move. So there's obviously stuff happening. That was only 5 hours ago. Oh, yeah, here we go. Look at Mark Allison's put up something. Obviously Paul Begley, who I don't follow anymore, for my own reasons. But anyway, I think that guy must be a multi-trillionaire. The way he plugs all those varying sponsors and supporters. I mean, I'm not having a crack at him, but like I just got sick of 40 minutes of his podcasts being about his affiliate programs and 20 minutes being about, I don't know, playing his own music and saying a few Christian things. But Paul's obviously said something about it. He's always got that mic from around the world on. I wonder about that guy too. I wonder about any Christians that seem to have this earth-shattering, almost secret knowledge from somewhere, but they continually say things like, there's big events coming down the track. I can't tell you what they are just now. It's this secretive thing. It's almost like if you watch the progression of computers, 20 years ago, they probably had the best chip ever, but they've taken us through versions of the first original computer chip right through till now just to make money. When somebody says to me, there's something coming in a few months' time, but I can't let you know, instantly I think all they're doing is trying to keep an audience strung along and extract cash out of them while they go. That's my thoughts. Because none of these channels that I'm talking about have got, they're all monetized. They're all monetized and full of ads. As soon as I see that, I start to think, oh yeah. In other words, a story that could have been told will be dragged out over 5 or 6 or 10 episodes, and there'll be tickets sold and all these sorts of stuff, for tickets for podcasts. So take those channels with a grain of salt. But anyway, obviously Paul's talking about it as well. USA oil tank had something done to it. I can imagine what that would be. Just scrolling through the feed here. Looks like Ecuador's moved into the civil war stage. I haven't had a chance to look at my news feed yet, so I'll sort of mention it as we scroll through now. So that's Lisa. Aaron's singing in the kitchen. I wonder if he's cooking up something for Tom at, what is it, River? I can't remember his channel. He'd be cooking him baked beans and chocolate ice cream or something. Iran no longer an Islamic nation? I don't know about that one. I think that might be a sensationalist headline myself. Gaza War 2. There we go. Anyway, I'm not going to continue through. I just want to encourage everybody. Our watch time is until the 14th. And if that passes, hey, it's not putting faith in a date. It's us trying to nut it out scripturally via studying, etc. And because we're such crappy students, we keep getting it wrong. We keep failing the exam. It's our fault. We can't blame ourselves. We've got to blame ourselves and that we're getting the date wrong. We can't blame God. But those of us that are watching, don't blame us when we get a date wrong, because at least we're putting some information out there and trying to keep everybody aware. It isn't an easy job, because I know every morning if I get up and I've set a high watch period like we have now, 11 through to 14, I know every morning that I get up, after that date passes, I'm going to be bombarded with abuse. Now, if you have a look at my channel, it's small, but I've done like 260 odd videos. That is a lot of my personal time. Time where I've just sat in the kitchen and done stuff for the channel, so to speak. Now, I don't want any credit for it. I couldn't give a rat's about credit. I'm doing this for God. But it's not nice when you put a lot of work in to wake up and find people go, told you so, when's your next date, smarty, and all this sort of stuff, as if I personally offended or hurt or attacked them in some way, shape or form. So this video is just to encourage everybody. I don't like radio silence, like our cool cap matey. We haven't heard boo from him lately, you know. And I don't think that's a good thing, because we get humbled by the Lord, then we've got to accept it, you know. I think he should be given an update. And he's got a lot of followers over there on his channel that, you know, have stuck by him all this time. So I think the important thing we should do when a date passes is to come on, give our thoughts. We may not have a reason to give, but we can give our thoughts and views. So keep watching, guys. We're only just on the 11th now. You can see the timer, 8:27. Which means 11:27 p.m. in Israel, so they've still got 33 minutes left. Then we've got the sighting of the new moon, and then, like I said, go over and have a look at this channel, his previous video, where he explains, I think it's to do with Hanukkah or something. It could potentially be a month off, but if it is, it still all lines up bang right where we should be now. So there's validity in what he's presenting, and we can't say it's wrong, so we have to consider it. I've never been one of these people to go with the month off thing, but hey, right at this point in time, I've got an open mind, because we just do not know exactly where we're at. We can see we're close. Like, the world's, it's just going crazy, you know. If you have a look at Dutch Sense, he's expecting some more earthquakes to happen soon, and he nails them every time. Have a look at his recent community post where he mentioned that all of the 3 last earthquakes he predicted hit in roughly the right locations within, you know, a few hundred miles, with the magnitudes he expected within the time frame he expected. So, and he's expecting more. And we're seeing more earthquakes. We're seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. The sun's still firing off solar flares all over the joint. The world everywhere is at war, basically, you know. We've got Ecuador and all these other places now that are starting to break out in civil war and doing silly things like Venezuela. Excuse me, what was the one I heard about yesterday as well? Peru, I think it was. And of course, we already know about all the other wars in the Middle Eastern area. And then we've got South Korea. They've started to move weaponry to the border, and we've got Taiwan. Everything is basically starting to go crazy. We've got Hezbollah saying, you know, the jihad of the tongue has finished. It's now time for the jihad of the sword, and then making announcements like it has begun, and all this sort of stuff. Well, clearly there, I think this is that verse, you know, where Satan sought to change times and, what is it, times and seasons or something? I think he has. He's changed it around just enough so at the end we all start floundering. But let's not trip over at the end of the race, because we are close. Could be any moment. And just stay encouraged. Keep watching for the next few days. Shoot me all the videos about the date has passed after the 14th. Don't do it for a couple of days yet. Not videos, comments. Shoot me all the comments about the date passing sort of on the 15th, because I'm watching through to the 14th. Between now and then, whatever information comes up, whatever videos come out that I think are good, I usually post them on the community tab, or like I'm doing here, I'll do just a little quick snippet from them, so encourages people to go over and have a look. But in the meantime, we've got to be 100% certain of our salvation, and we can be. If it was all just predestination, it'd be a lottery and we wouldn't have a clue. There wouldn't have been any need for Jesus. We would just sit back and go, well, I guess we'll wait and see what happens. In which case, some of the worst people ever would have got into heaven and some of the best God-loving people wouldn't have, if it was just, a lottery that you couldn't be sure of. But anyway, we know we can be certain of our salvation because we confess with our mouth Jesus is Lord, and we truly believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead, a perfect, sinless person, to cover our sin and to pay our debt for us. It's that simple. God said, man's righteousness is but filthy rags before the Lord. And he's not, he's not messing around when he says stuff like that. What he's basically saying is the best that you've done is but filthy rags before me. So our salvation is 100% dependent on the works of Jesus, his perfect works. If our works are filthy, the best of them, the more we try to add, the more filth we add to the equation. So we've got to take ourselves out of it completely. We need to do our best to follow our Lord Jesus and the example that he left behind, etc., etc. But we will fail, and he knows that. But our sins were forgiven, past, present, and future. Past, present, and future, the lot. They're all done for, forgiven in one go. Because God was outside of time, he sees our life, just as a second. So when he forgave us, it was our whole life, boom, all at once. So we just need to completely put our faith and trust in Jesus. We know it's not by our works, it's by his. We believe that he lived here on earth, a perfect person, and was crucified, willingly crucified, because he could have prevented it all. He could have called down a legion of angels to stop everything. But not his will be done, his Father's will be done. He said that himself. He said, look, he said, Father, if this cup can pass from me, let it. He said, but not my will be done, let your will be done. He did all of this for the will of the Father. Jesus was God himself, wrapped in flesh. He dwelt amongst us. He lived a perfect life, and we're saved through him and him alone. If we could add anything to the salvation equation, we wouldn't need Jesus. And in fact, anything that we think we can add to the salvation equation, what we're doing is subtracting from the work of Jesus, and that was the perfect works. Okay, so if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Jesus already did the work. We just accept that gift. We try our best as we trip and stumble through this life, and we just can't wait to be home and have that incorruptible body where we do not have to battle with the flesh anymore. Sin's gone. We know everything we do is righteous and good because we're unable to sin. Everything we do is perfect and loving because we're like Jesus. That's what I long for. To be done with this battle of the flesh. Amen, guys. Keep looking up. Stay encouraged. And I'll keep you updated with any information that happens along during the day. I have a feeling of sadness and depression too, like everybody else. I don't wake up on these high watch days that pass feeling like I want to dance the jig and go out and have a party. But we've just got to be strong. This is part of taking up our cross daily. This is part of running that race. And the Bible didn't say anywhere that it was going to be an easy downhill race. And it's turning out to be quite a hard one. But Jesus sees it all and sees our hearts. We've just got to do our best, even though we are fallen, flawless, corrupted, sinful people. God bless.